We want to know, is it true that the Porsche Spyder and the GT4 are cancelled?
Yes. I actually should have showed the picture. I've got a little screenshot.
You hesitated to take a Spyder when you ordered
Really
the
did.
911.
Yeah, I really did, because the Spyder looks great. Let's check out. So the Porsche Spyder is going to be canceled. There might not be a 24 model, but there almost certainly will not be a 2025 model. It's been actually confirmed to Porsche dealers. But let's go check out here. Let's try to get over to the Porsche Spyder and why it's got a little bit of a... It's not just a Boxster. It's quite a bit of a different look. So the Spyder actually has a very different front end, a different back end. And I did hesitate. I was originally looking at the 911 right here. Gorgeous vehicle. Prices have increased on them. The engine is, it's a rear engine. It's technically, on and behind those back wheels. And the Boxster, I find it interesting because the engine, it's a mid-engine, just like a Toyota MR2. And I like mid-engine vehicles quite a bit. They offer incredible driving dynamics. But the Boxster has a very powerful four-cylinder, but I do like the sound of a six. The sound a vehicle makes is very important to me. We've got a Mustang GT with active exhaust, so we can just crank it up and basically almost straight pipe that vehicle. And it just tell everyone how you feel about our exhaust on the Mustang GT.
That's so great. That's the only thing that made us keep that car, I guess, with all the other cars that we have. It's not your first Mustang. Each time we're always impressed by the new technology inside, the new comfort. And with that model, is it a 2022, I guess, huh? The Mustang?
It is a 2022, that's right.
And this one is so comfortable when you hit the road, and here in Quebec, it's not the beautiful road that you have somewhere else. So it's comfortable, and with the sound, it's so great. You really feel something special with that car. It's not boring at all because of that. And you have a track mode, so if you want to push more the sound. That's the best Mustang we had. We had a GT before, and it's not the same.
Sounds incredible. You will get some great sound out of this flat V6. So not everyone realizes that, they think the Spyder is just a Boxster. It's not just a Boxster. It is a 718 Spyder, so it does carry the 718 name plate, but there's some major differences. There's that flat six, completely changes the sound. You've got the back of the vehicle, that's, you've got that nice indentation and hump, the double hump with the indentation between the two. And the front grille, if this vehicle would stop moving, this gorgeous vehicle would stop moving for a moment. You've got the front grille here that's quite a bit different from your 718. Mm-hmm. Now let's go over to a 718 and check that out. So if we go over to the 718, so let's just cover the 718 Spyder, has 414 horsepower, a flat six-cylinder, which is the traditional Porsche engine, Porsche 911 engine, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles per hour in 4.4 seconds with the PDK automatic transmission. The manual is actually slower, folks. Top speed 301 kilometers. We can't, shouldn't be doing that here, that's for sure. It's not the Autobahn. Very, very illegal. Now let's go over to the inline 4 with turbo. So the GT 718 Boxster GTS, still an option, so we'll talk about that in a moment because I've got some news to drop for you drop on our order. The 718 Boxster, 300 horsepower, 4-cylinder, 5.1 seconds. Slower if you go with the manual again, a little top speed, a little slower, but I'm not, not going to buy a vehicle because it only does 275 kilometers an hour versus 300 kilometers an hour. But it is definitely slower. It is a good looking vehicle, but you see it right there. The back end, no wing, doesn't have that same back end, and the front end is gorgeous, but a little more tame. And that's actually the S, so already it's got a bit more design cues, a little more style to it. You can definitely see it's got a bit of a wing when it comes up with speed. It's a good looking vehicle. It's a great vehicle. Ford now, Ford's been running amazing 4-cylinders since the 2-liter, the 2.3 liter. The 2-liter is great. The 2.3 liter is fantastic. Ford is the ones really that convinced me that a 4-cylinder can be both fun to drive and reliable. Our 2-liter turbo and our 91 MR2, since I've had them going all the way back to 2005 when the vehicle wasn't that old, then it still wasn't all that tough. They often blew. You had to, before you had to let them warm up slowly. You had to let them cool off slowly. It had a turbo timer in the vehicle. That's just not the case with the 4-cylinders these days. So Porsche Boxster, I know a lot of people give this model a real hard time and will, talk down to you. Even if they don't even have a Porsche, they'll be like, oh, you just have a Boxster. They don't have a Porsche. Don't listen to them. It's a great vehicle, the Boxster. But for sound, you want to go more with that traditional Porsche sound, you've got to go up to, before, I'd say a Spyder. But the Spyder is canceled. The GT4 is canceled. I'll try to share that email in just a moment. Great, beautiful looking car. You agree, right? Mm-hmm. Before I spend money on this, I've got a $5,000 deposit, which is what the dealership asked for. So when people get really worked up when Ford asks them for $100, well, shop around. Let's always keep an open mind and try to have as much information possible to help influence how we view and what perspective we have on the world. So let's try to get back to that 718. You've got right down here the GTS4. So the Spyder is about $130,000. And this, the Boxster GTS4, 394 horsepower. So Spyder had 414, 4.5 seconds. Who cares about the crazy high top speed, but it's a big whopping, 7-8 kilometers less, so about 5 miles per hour slower than the Spyder. But it doesn't quite carry the same look. Maybe Porsche realized that they're losing sales. Their Spyder was taking away sales from the 911. I know it originally almost got us to buy the Spyder instead of the 911.
You love the look of the vent on the side of the car. Yeah, it was a sport look.
Yeah, it's got that crazy vent. It's got the back humps. I preferred the look of the Spyder over the 911, but the 911 is classic. You get more respect driving a 911, unfortunately, but I've decided...
The trade value? So
trade value.
You always look at that, the trade value.
And I didn't want just the base model 911, so I was looking at the S. But now with the S and the dealership, doesn't let me pick out my equipment. I can't just have a base 911S. They throw things on, and the bill ends up being about 186,000 Canadian. We have a luxury tax here, so that means I'll end up spending about 32% tax on everything above 100,000 and 15% tax on everything below 100,000. So the bill was going to go well over $200,000. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm being responsible, thinking of the future. And what have I done? I've canceled the 911.
Oh.
Very cool.
You surprised me.
The dealership is letting me keep my place in line. Well, I watched Jay Leno's video on the Boxster, and he just loved that mid-engine. I'm like, I've always loved mid-engines. I've never had a rear engine. I'm going to go with my original love. I'm going to switch to the Spyder. I got told, sorry, buddy, the Spyder is not, it won't be available. I don't lose my place in line. I will wait about a year. I've already waited a year, and I'm going to continue. I'm going to be slid into the waiting list at the 1-year mark by switching models, so we don't lose any time. If I went with a 4-cylinder Boxster, maybe I'd get a little sooner, but I'm waiting for confirmation. I read the email in a way that almost seemed like I'd get a GTS4, which base price is $98,000 versus the $130,000 of the Spyder. But the GTS, not the GT4, but the GTS, $98,000, forced equipment on it. It's going to bring the bill to $120,000.
That's better.
But this Spyder at 130, I would have also been forced 20,000 of accessories on it. And these aren't, you know, fake accessories like, you know, Toyota's dealership style of having a $3,000 anti-theft. That's worth, you know, $400 or $500. These are real add-ons from the Build and Price website. They actually send me the whole build. Everything is very kosher, very acceptable. They're just telling us, me, I can't have a straight Porsche. You can't have it straight. They get to build, they get to choose the gender of my child. I don't get to choose the gender of my child. The Porsche dealership gets to you know, pick what its attributes.
They do it Toyota style. They add stuff on it.
No. Real stuff. They're not just adding, you know, BS to it. They're not just throwing, oh, here's a wrap and we're charging you $3,000 for the wrap.
But yeah, they choose for you accessories and stuff.
You know, beefed up interior. They're a better sound system, dynamic lights.
But at the same time, why is it available like you want it if they don't want to give you that? Why is it available?
They say they get builds from Porsche, and when they get the builds, they're like, okay, you can have this, pick your color. So they're like, hey, this is almost certainly how Porsche is going to give it to us. You know, what color do you want? So it's going to be 120,000. Let's check out, let's see if I can get to the photos on that. I'm still a huge fan of the red. So let's just call this today's Porsche model build and price. It's a whole build and price for Porsche. Should always say Porsche, it's the proper pronunciation. The price they cost, I think I should get to call it whatever I want, but I don't want to get criticized by other YouTubers, so I better say it right. We'll have to practice in the mirror, love. Now let's go check out those pictures that we've got here. Right here, get this open, expand. So we've got right here, regarding the Spyder version, it is unfortunate. However, we received from Porsche the confirmation that this specific model, as well as the GT4, won't be produced anymore. So at the end, the best equivalent is the Boxster GTS. You still get your 6-cylinder, fantastic value, because it wasn't that long ago. Of course, now the 911, you know, I wanted the S. It's a 6-cylinder with 2 turbos, but not long ago, you know, almost all the 911s on the road were naturally aspirated. So this actually makes very much for your traditional Porsche, the popular Porsche from the last 50 years, but instead of a rear engine, we're getting a mid-engine. So theoretically, better driving dynamics. I think I'm actually going to prefer driving it, but we also have news on that. June 22nd, we're going to the racetrack. So hopefully we'll be able to film. They should allow us to film, but there's going to be some road testing as well as some track testing of the Porsches. Now they suggested I come down to try.
They let you try it anyway, because even if you switch for a lower model.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm still going to be spending 120,000, so I think they can let me still try it. Except originally, even with our 911 order, they're suggesting we try a Macan or something else. Mm-hmm. And I just clicked the box, and there's like other and write what you want, and I was like 911. Now, of course, I'm hoping that we'll get to drive the GTS 718, and if they don't have that, well, then we'll drive a 911. And if we love that, well, we should also love the naturally aspirated 6-cylinder with a more logical placement of that engine. Because of course, when you put the weight on the back of a vehicle, what happens? Naturally, the weight's in the back, less weight on the front wheels. What are front wheels for? They're for steering. They're pretty important. We're snow people. We know what happens when you don't have enough traction on your front wheels. You go straight when you want to go right or left. So to be avoided. Now that's everything I've got to say about Porsche. Are there comments coming through that we want to cover?
No, not for now. We have few questions about the Escape, but maybe it could be a good topic for the next week. So I will send to you the question, because we have few of them.
Now in the comments section, tell us how you found the show tonight. If it bothered you that we talked about Porsche stuff, let us know. If you've got comments, what color should the Porsche be? Right now, it's that red that we kept seeing going by. If for some reason we see this one, then I went to build it. I was like, that's interesting. I'll, talk about, I'd love to have a green Bronco in the yard and a green Porsche, but then you go to the building price and where's the green? There is no green.
Not there anymore.
It's not there. But they just showed it to us. I clicked on it. I wanted that green, and then I'm like, oh well, there's our red. Of course, it's not the Spyder.
It's a classic.
We don't have the big old humps right here in the back. We don't have as much of a wing as we do off the Spyder, and the front is a little more, you know, a little toned down, comparatively speaking. I'll just push you here, and there we go. Trade a beauty for a beauty. And, you know, I can't see myself driving a yellow vehicle.
Yeah, at the first time you were maybe, you tell me that you probably tried a yellow one, but we said no, you will get tired quickly of that.
Now these colors are $2,950. And I don't find them any nicer than the regular colors. You can change
the same, just a little touch.
Yeah, and then these colors are $740. So who cares about $740? And maybe, you know, multi-millionaires, maybe people who have $30 million in the bank, oh, who cares? $3,000 for a color. So if you really want the blue, that's fine. But we are far more. We love this red. Let us know in the comments how you build your Porsche. Also, let us know what you think about the auto market and when is the best time to buy. Yahoo Finance was saying May is the best time to buy. Traditionally, it is, but not this year with how inventories are going. It is not the best time. If you want to just take Lily in your arms and maybe pass her over to me, she'll, you know, Winston is kind of flipping out upstairs. So May is not necessarily the best time to buy this year. It's all about whether you have a trade. If you do have a trade, maybe make the move May or June. If the trade's not worth very much, I would definitely order my vehicle and have it come in for August or September when new prices will be down, folks. And Porsche prices at Porsche are even coming down. The wildness of the, you know, people complained about Ford selling over MSRP. Well, what about when the Porsche after 2 years is still selling for $50,000 more than what the new ones are selling for? Meaning about $65,000 more than the original window sticker. So prices are starting to come down a little bit at Porsche. So let us know in the comment section. Please drop a comment, hit that like button, subscribe. And if you don't want to miss out on truthful, down-to-earth, you know, insider information mixed with a great amount of data, do hit that bell notification button. Thank you so much, folks, for watching. We're Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. We got Marie here. We've got Lily. Well, I'll let you do the sign out.
Yeah, so we wish you more cars and more power.
Take care, folks.
Good evening.